So recently I got some attention that the Hungarian Prime Minister's boyfriend has some zebras, as do most Hungarians. Other people are buying the latest iPhones, and we are just collecting zebras. It's a totally normal thing to do. Well, not really, because we are wasting our money on food and paying the bills instead of just buying zebras. But some people close to the current government can somehow afford it. And it's definitely not because they are stealing from our country. The current patriotic government would never do that. So, for obvious reasons, people are fed up with this, and it's not particularly good that the news are talking about this instead of the gay stuff that the government desperately wants to divert attention to. So, they found a very clever way to stop even more people finding about how blatantly corrupt the current government is. They are still trying to keep the appearance of representing the vast majority of Hungarians and serving the nation's interest, so just simply banning the news outlets from reporting on this would be a bad look. So instead of that, they are trying to drown it out. Until very recently, news outlets were reporting on how the Prime Minister or his close friend owns zebras. Apparently, there are many ways that taxpayers' money can manifest itself, this time as zebras. So now the Prime Minister coincidentally decided that he wants to adopt some zebras from the zoo of the capital city. It's basically charity. You can pay some money to them and adopt a zebra. You can name it and stuff like that. It's pretty mundane stuff that anyone can do, and it's definitely not on the same level as actually owning a zebra on your own safari park, paid for by tax money. Also, if you're a citizen of the European Union, I have bad news for you. This is where part of your tax money is going. So, how is this propaganda? Well, it's not really. But what's happening next is you see now every news outlet that is either part of the national media or is owned by the close friends of the current government will be reporting on this. They will be reporting how the Prime Minister is supporting the zoo and adopting zebras instead of him actually owning zebras on his private property. So, if you imagine the perspective of the average guy who hasn't heard of this topic yet or has minimal information about it, what you will see is that there are people who are outraged because the Prime Minister wants to support the zoo by adopting zebras. And that some people are trying to turn this nothing into a big corruption scandal. You will never hear the real story, only the one that the government is using to drown out the real news. And it's really effective because these two things are really similar. So you can easily think that when other people are talking about Orban owning zebras, they are just trying to blow the adoption story out of proportion. Or when they say that he or his boyfriend is actually owning zebras, they just misunderstood the news that were talking about the adoption, or maybe they got this information from fake news. After all, the real story is Orban supporting the zoo. And if you fall for this, it can also affect your perception of other news about the corruption and theft that is going on. After all, if the zebra story was blown out of proportion or misrepresented, how many other stories were also fake? Anyway, thanks for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreons Jay Brandon and Ardabom.